Welcome to the Savvy Leader Podcast. We're so excited to have you here. This is the perfect place for leadership growth, learning, and inspiration. Let's get started. Thanks again for joining us for the next episode of the Savvy Leader Podcast. I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Emily Leduc. She's also a lead member. This is a Stories Behind the Business series that we have for our lead members. I'm just excited to hear how Emily got started in marketing, specifically as a small business email marketing strategist and coach who has a little bit of a holistic side to her too. So Emily, share with us your story. How did you get started in this huge world of email marketing? I mean, I know that it seems like it's simple, but I know it's a lot more complex. And what about it appeals to you? What got you started and how are things going? Tell us.
Well, thanks, Kristen. I just want to first thank you for having me here. I'm so incredibly excited and to share a little bit about my story. So I'll take it back to even when I got my undergrad. So I focused in both marketing and entrepreneurship. I always knew that I wanted to create my own business. I came from a family of entrepreneurs, and since I was a kid, I was always creating, crafting something, and trying to sell something. So I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but wasn't always exactly sure what type of business. And then along with that, I've always had a passion for natural wellness. And shortly after college, I've been out for many years now. So, but to just tell the story, I shortly after college, I created a small business where I made natural skincare products. And that was more of a farmer's market sized business. But I, knew that there was something to it that would grow over time. And aside from that small business that I started, like many people, I found myself in the corporate world and landed into email marketing, specifically strategy. And although there were many things that I enjoyed about my job, I didn't love the corporate environment. And in 2021, I was let go from my job. So it's kind of the push that I needed. I knew that I wanted to make the jump, but I was afraid to do it on my own. So I had that push and it was unexpected. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I thought, well, this is my opportunity to really start a true business. And I continued doing what I was doing in the corporate world of email marketing and started doing it more in a consulting and freelance type of role. And things started out slow, but every year I doubled my income, which was so exciting and really empowering. Until suddenly I hit a wall where work wasn't coming in anymore. It just kind of stopped. And although from a financial standpoint, that was challenging, it provided me with the opportunity to really step back and reflect on what I had been doing since I left my corporate role. And again, although there was things that I enjoyed, I really wasn't that happy in my own business. After reflecting, found that I was working with businesses that didn't really align with my values. And I also was fitting into the work that they wanted me to do versus what I felt like I knew that they needed and what I was best at. So I ended up doing more copywriting, building emails, more in the execution versus actually being able to help with the strategy. So in that reflection, I really thought about who is it that I enjoy working with? What do I enjoy doing the most, which is the strategy. And with that, I redefined my ideal client, my offerings, and I started to pursue things outside of email marketing that were also calling to me, like women's health and herbalism. So it's been a wild ride, a fun evolution. And I feel like I can finally say that I'm in a place that feels aligned and authentic to me. And it's been a lot of fun.
That's amazing. What I love most about your story is, we need that little nudge, of course. And sometimes it's hard to take that leap and leap of faith, right? But you did, and you took a chance on yourself. You took an opportunity to really expand on your own self and do things that fulfilled you. But then you discovered that you kind of fell into the corporate trap, I feel like, because I've got a corporate background too. And I can totally sense when I step into an environment, a setting, and it's got that corporate feel, and I feel so at home. And, I wouldn't call it my comfort zone because I left corporate too. But it does have this sense of just, comfort and home. And, I can, breathe versus when you're out on your own, recognizing that the decisions are up to you and income is, of course, important. So when you discovered that you were working really hard and things were going great, but when business dried up, you took the time to reflect and re-examine your values and find better alignment. I got to ask, I mean, because as a small business owner, solopreneur like yourself, in order to sustain yourself, it's important to have money coming in. So, was it a challenge for you to take that time to breathe and really reflect long enough to do that? Or, tell us a little bit about how that journey went, because I think a lot of us find ourselves in that kind of trap where we're either pulling in old habits or things that are comfortable, things we know from our corporate gig or other, experience we've had, and we lean on that to start off because it's the hustle.
Mhm.
But it takes, I think, a great deal of discipline to actually get yourself to calm down enough to really reflect and redetermine your values and realign yourself.
Right. Yes. Well, and I would say, during this time, I had like one or two clients still. It wasn't a lot financially during that time, but I had a little bit of business. It just wasn't like that success that I was seeing year over year. So that helped me. And throughout, I have had the opportunities to pick up some work with friends that have owned other businesses. So jumping in there. So I've been thankful for that. And then um, I do have just a really great support system around me that has supported me in different financial situations that not everyone might have. So I feel like that's really been a gift for me in that time that's allowed me to be able to take some time to reflect. I also would say that I wasn't taking off like 6 months or even 3 months to sit and reflect and refine. It was like a pretty quick turnaround of staying focused, of really, I mean, maybe it was even a month of just journaling and reflection and writing down those things that I enjoyed the most and what really inspired me. So I wouldn't say it took off a lot of time, and I had support in other ways that made that possible.
That's incredible. So, not only did you have the support system that you need and family, friends, and just, peers, I'm sure, but you also recognized that this didn't need to be a long, drawn out process.
Mhm.
And journaling and being intentional and really focused on it helped you to determine what it was your best next step should be from that point.
Definitely.
I don't know that all of us out here recognize what a really good support system looks like. What did yours look like? And can you expand on that just a little bit to help people kind of evaluate who they have around them and how better to, you know, create that strong support that you had?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest has really been family. I mean, family has always been a really strong core value of mine. and really being transparent on where I've been at, showing that vulnerability to the people that I love has helped to shape that support system. So I think it's, everyone has, whether it's their, maybe they don't have that like biological family that is there as a support system, and maybe it's friends instead. And when you are vulnerable and transparent on where you're at, I think that builds a deeper connection and willingness for other people to support you. So I think, yeah, I think family is really just been the big one, and being transparent in your needs and where you're at.
And family, like, it can be that your family can be people that you brought into your life after birth. It doesn't necessarily always have to be those that you were born with, too. Definitions of family can vary throughout. It's just determining those that align with your values, I think, is so important. That's so
Mhm.
great. And it's refreshing to hear your authenticity and, just recognizing that, hey, it's okay to talk about the struggle piece of it. You don't have to hide that from the world. You can share that with the people, because the people that love you, the people that are in your life, in your support, they're gonna want to see you succeed. So
Mm.
you don't have to hide behind, a facade of success.
Right. And I think that, we all have different challenges that come up in our lives. And I think there's many people that really they find themselves in a work situation where they're like, this just is not filling my cup. And when you can share that with others, you deepen that connection. So I think it's really important to share and be authentic, because when we are authentic, we're just become that much more magnetic. People are willing to open up to us. People are going to be more drawn to us as well. So I think it's really important that we can be authentic in our personal lives, but then also business as well.
It is so important. It is so important and sometimes rare, unfortunately. I wish it were. It's just a comfort zone thing, I think, that people need to get used to.
Right.
It's
Yes.
not
Yep.
always easy.
It is not always easy to be vulnerable in that way. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I applaud your early on success though, because it sounds like whatever experience you had and you were innovative enough to pull in all those resources, but you could have continued on with that successful, business plan or business model that you had, but you chose to realign yourself with your values. I think that that's incredible because it's a rarity, and I applaud you for that strength and discipline to do that. Good for you.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about your unique perspective. So email marketing strategist, what exactly does an email marketing strategist do? And you talk about impact driven brands. Help us understand just exactly where your head's at with all that.
Yeah. So strategy is really using data to tell a story and come up with a plan of what are you going to be emailing, who are you emailing it to, and when. And so you'll oftentimes be looking at data to tell a story behind everything that you're going to be doing. And my approach with holistic email marketing, it's imagining that email is not working within a vacuum. So you're looking at the entire ecosystem of a business and seeing how all of these pieces are working together. So from your website to your social media to your email marketing. But then beyond that, you have to remember that there is a person on the receiving end of the email that you're sending. So oftentimes I think people lose sight of that and they rely on email templates or what they feel like they should be doing, or like going to chat gpt and asking what content they should send. So it doesn't allow for a very authentic relationship to develop between the business and your customers or your subscribers. So when I work with clients, we get to the core of who their customer is, what their what their business values are, what kind of relationship do they want to create with their subscribers, and how do they want their subscribers to feel when they receive emails. So we use the strategy, the data, and some of the data that I'm referencing is looking at past email engagement, like opens and clicks, looking at the type of content that people are engaging with on their social media, on their website. So using all of that data as the foundation. But then we use all of that all of the other things that I had just mentioned of the relationship that they want to create with their subscribers and how they want their subscribers to feel and their values as that North Star. So it ultimately, it allows them to come across more authentically in email and build the stronger relationships, because as I was mentioning, when we're not authentic, people, you can feel it. It's just like almost repulsive when someone is not really being themselves. But when you walk into a room or you see a brand that is unapologetically authentic, you're drawn to it. So it when you're doing that through email, it helps to build stronger relationships and ultimately the income that you're looking for. So that's, kind of how I work and what makes me a little bit different from other marketers. As for what is an impact-driven brand, it's ultimately a brand, and I also like to say soul-led brands. Like it's kind of those are my people, but it's a brand that is wanting to make a positive impact on the world, on the people, and on the planet. So I love being able to help support those individuals or those brands to bring their message alive and to expand their impact that they're having.
Listen to you, all aligned and everything. That was beautiful. I mean, just hearing the way your brain works, you can absolutely attest to how well you have discovered the alignment between your values and then the work that you do. You've created this incredible in sync type of mechanism, and I think it's wonderful. So I love it. I mean, it's kind of just, it's, you can see how passionate you are about it too. So, with that though, so email marketing, I think email marketing comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, but it seems like I always, whenever it comes up in a conversation or when I see something posted about it somewhere, it's email marketing is still really impactful and it can really drive your business and it can do a lot of good things for you. People feel like it's somewhat antiquated because it's people, it ends up getting deleted out of the inboxes or, share with us a little bit about your thought process behind the value in email marketing and what that can do when done right in a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think email marketing should a lot of times people, when it comes to any sort of marketing, they think about, well, how is it going to make me money? How is it going to grow my business? And when we approach it from that perspective, it can repulse people because they can feel that they're just trying to make another sale. And really, email marketing is a way to build relationships as well as to improve the customer experience. So when we look at it like that, we start to have a lens of, what is the value that I'm providing? How am I helping my subscriber or customer? And when you start to help them, eventually they will help you. So it's much more of a relationship building tool as well as a way to build trust. And so when we look at that, that's in that way, we typically will start to see more of the longer term results that we want to see. So even to like provide more detail on that, so you could focus more on guiding education, supporting your audience. So trying to step back and not always focus on selling will help you in the long run.
Gotcha. Okay. So here's the $1 million question. Is email marketing good for every business?
I would say absolutely yes. I think that there are different types of like when you look at your subscriber list, not everyone should be treated the same way. So there are going to be people that are your customers or potential customers where email isn't the best form of communication for them. But I do, so for maybe for them, it is social media. Although you're not necessarily owning that list on your social media, but my point is that not everyone uses email the same way. So we shouldn't treat our entire list the same way, but email is a great way to still get in contact with everyone. And no matter what, you should still have some sort of list to be able to get in contact with your subscribers and customers.
Gotcha. And that makes a ton of sense. So when you're looking at implementing or incorporating an email campaign, do you evaluate then the other kind of marketing vehicles that companies or people are using and kind of strategize with their brand already? Or do you find that when you meet clients, you kind of need to better solidify their brand message before you start actually on this email strategy?
Mm. I think the important first step before getting started with email marketing is to one, establish what your business goals are. There are clients that I come across where they don't really have defined business goals. So first starting with that and then looking at how does email bubble up to that? So what are the different objectives within your email marketing that would bubble up and support your overarching goals? From there, you can start to establish tactics in email marketing to reach those marketing objectives and your overarching goals. So that's really important to start with. And then I would say, as for whether or not we are looking at sending, or focusing on social media or focusing on push notifications or email, it really comes down to looking at their list, clients list, and starting with the segmentation. So looking for behavior patterns to separate out people into different segments and then treat them differently. So those are usually the starting points. What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Now let's look at your list. Let's start to divide them up into different segments and determine what's the appropriate messaging for each group.
Okay. So then would you establish a different email for each group then too?
It potentially, I mean, it depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. But for example, if you have a new subscriber versus someone who hasn't engaged with you in a while, you're probably going to speak to them differently. And then also the different buying patterns. If you have someone who's never purchased versus someone who purchases frequently, again, you'll talk to them differently. And you can start to see these patterns of, okay, these people just aren't really engaging with email, but they're buying quite a bit. So we don't want to just get rid of their email addresses, but maybe what the content that we're sending them is a little bit different than someone who's always engaging with email.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, at the same time, what I'm thinking about is with this kind of holistic strategy, um, how can business owners effectively utilize email to create a reliable then path of passive income for them? How does additional income come into play with email marketing?
Yeah, the way that you actually start to drive passive income, that's going to come from the automations that you have in place. So when like for example, when a subscriber takes an action like subscribing to your email list, you'll automatically have these emails that are then triggered and sent based on that behavior. And those emails are automated. You can follow up and nurture them to a point when they are ready to purchase. So it's the automations that are bringing in the passive income. You can drive revenue with one-off emails, but the automation being tied to an action is that much more timely, and that's why they're effective. Um, and then again, you have an automation, but just having one in place isn't going to bring passive income always. It's that intention, the authenticity, and the human touch that's ultimately going to increase your opportunity for passive income from email.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. Um, I think probably in a lot of cases that call to action and then having that automation piece in there is probably a pitfall that many, small business owners who are doing their own email marketing might discover. Is that what you're finding? Like, they want to reach their client base and they want to send out messages, which is fantastic, but without a proper call to action and then an automation to set it to support it. Their efforts are nice, but they're probably falling a little bit flat.
Right. Well, and I think another piece to add to that too is when you think of it in a holistic view, the email leads to somewhere, right? You need to have a landing page that's going to be formatted in a way that is going to be either helpful to the subscriber or it's going to increase your odds of actually converting. So it isn't, again, just in a vacuum. It's how are the pieces working together? Or if you have a message on social media, what are you then pairing with email that someone might see and it can continue to move them slowly along their path to purchasing?
Interesting. I mean, and who would have thought? I mean, that you could take email marketing and actually create this incredibly robust strategy that benefits your brand and your business in such an impactful way. And it actually, feels like I don't know. I mean, as I'm putting the pieces together in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, what a perfect little package this is.
Yes. And it can be more fun when you are thinking about that relationship that you're building with your customer versus, oh, this is something that I have to do. It's a different way to show up that can make it a little bit more fun.
That's awesome. I just really, really love the way that you put that together in that nice, neat, tidy little package. Now, so email marketing would be considered like digital type marketing, kind of. Does that fall under that umbrella? Are there other digital marketing services you offer, or do you like to focus primarily on email? And then if so, are there platforms you prefer? Are there, things that you really like to take advantage of, or share a little bit about that kind of behind the scenes scoop?
Yeah. So I do specialize in email strategy, but I also will, because I am looking at things holistically and checking on social media and the engagement that's happening there, as well as thinking through what's the landing page experience after someone clicks through on an email. I kind of advise a little bit in those areas. But I wouldn't say that I manage social media or someone's website. So I really do stick kind of within my lane of email strategy. And then if I have a client that needs assistance in other areas of marketing that are outside of my expertise, I do have a network of other consultants and freelancers that I'll tap their shoulder and we'll collaborate together. So definitely can help in those other areas as well.
Awesome. It's so important to have that pool to be able to work and collaborate with other services that way. I think it's such an important and invaluable relationship to have with people. And it's a fantastic collaboration. So good for you for being able to put together people that you know and trust to help your clients kind of build out that strategy. I think it's great. So I know that you host some really incredible workshops. Um, share with us a little bit about who is your ideal audience when you create a workshop. Are you looking to meet with business owners, or are you looking to meet with other marketers? Or, tell us a little bit about who your target audience is for an email, for your what type of workshops you have, and then what's your ultimate goal in having these workshops and offering them to the broader audience or community.
Yeah. The workshops that I do are really from that passion of I love connecting with people and interacting with them. I also think that when we come together in community and we share ideas and we have conversation, it sparks new ideas for each other. So I really love that community aspect. And the people that I usually am targeting for workshops are either solopreneurs. There's a lot of women solopreneurs, often coaches or within the wellness space, but also small business entrepreneurs as well. So it could be a marketing individual, like if they have a small team, maybe they have one person that's managing all of their marketing, or it is directly that entrepreneur. So it can vary, but I would say majority are going to be those solopreneurs. And oftentimes, so the particular workshop that I have right now is called Welcome with Intention. And that is a welcome, it's for those that have either they've created a welcome series in the past or they've never created one yet. And they are looking to have something that is going to be more intentional and authentic to them to build stronger relationships and bring in that passive income. So the workshop, I'm actually super excited about it. It's a lot of fun. There is an educational part of it. And there's different forms of education through video, through frameworks, lots of inspiration. And then there is also a co-working session. So we're actually applying what we've learned and holding each other accountable to do the work. Because I know oftentimes we learn things, we know we need to do them, but we're busy entrepreneurs, so we don't end up doing it. So this is a way to actually get it done. And then we have a peer focus group where we give each other feedback on our welcome series. So I think that's been really fun for me because I can even take a step back and allow the conversation to happen and see these ideas that come up that are so incredible just from each other. And so I would say, it's this workshop is, maybe someone has tried email marketing in the past, or they're new to it, but they have an email list. And they maybe haven't seen much return from their email marketing, whether that is low or flat email engagement, not much revenue. And they believe that email can help them, but they just don't really know how to stay consistent, how to be strategic. So they'll walk away with a lot of knowledge, but then have a welcome series that they feel proud about and is actually ready to go for them.
That sounds amazing. Do you like to host workshops throughout the year? I know you've got one going on right now. Will you have another one, do you think?
Yeah, so the Welcome with Intention, I am hoping to do that at least twice a year, and that is virtual. It's either 2 to 4 weeks long, depending on which track you choose. But I also want to start doing more digital products that are either self-paced. I do love that community aspect, though, where we can actually work together. So looking to do other things outside of creating a welcome series, as well as having some more in-person type workshops as well too. So there'll be more to come. It's just not solidified yet of exactly what and when.
That's great. I think it's fantastic. I love that you're offering these things to the broader community. It's so important to have people like you out there sharing your expertise. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs a little help from their friends, right?
Right. And
Beyond ROI, is there another Are there non-monetary benefits to having an email campaign or doing strategic email marketing?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, again, email marketing, it really is about building relationships and providing a positive customer experience. So all the other benefits from email marketing fall into place when you make that the focus of your email marketing. So I it's email is the long game. You're building a relationship, and I often think about I like to relate it to dating, where if you were to go on one date with someone or even two or three, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, do you want to be in a relationship with me? It's like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like, I'm not ready for that yet. It's like email marketing is the same way. You can't just come in with a sale or expecting this big return on investment immediately. You're building a relationship and it takes time. So that is the ROI over time, is having a community that will refer you to other people, and leave you reviews, so it's those, there's little things along the way that will build up over time when you have a strong relationship.
That's so great. And I think it's important for people to be reminded that it's a long game. It's not a quick hit. It's a relationship builder, and relationship marketing is a long game, and it takes strategy and it takes patience and consistency, right? So being consistent, having that consistent brand message and being authentic and putting that out there on a consistent basis, whether it be weekly, monthly, whatever you choose, is so, so important. And building those relationships have a better return than just the one-offs.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Ultimately. I love that. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your holistic side. Share with us a little bit of insight on this herbalist in training and how this perspective influences your approach to business and marketing and all of these other things. Share with us a little bit of that personal side.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always been interested in different alternative forms of medicine or caring for your body. So I love learning of how you can support your own body in a natural way. And so I am studying herbalism right now. I'm not exactly sure what will come from that. I'm just kind of following the path of interest and education and letting the pieces fall into place. Actually, last weekend, I hosted a women's mini retreat where we talked about the different phases of a woman's menstrual cycle. We did intro to cycle syncing and then herbal supports along with that. So, what herbs can support you throughout the month. And it was a wonderful community connection. It was in person. So, it's doing things like that of immersing myself in that world and not having a thought of what is the outcome going to be? What am I exactly going to do with herbalism? So that's just been a fun path. And I think when I start to think about, okay, how does herbalism and that holistic wellness also relate to email marketing? And what it reminds me of is that just like herbalism, email marketing growth, it takes time and care. So I bring that same mindset into marketing, helping clients plant the intentional seeds, nurture relationships, and grow in a way that's sustainable and not forced. So that's how it ties in a little bit. But I'm excited to see how it continues to grow over time.
It's a wonderful passion project for you. I think it's incredible. And immersing yourself in a weekend like that, I can't tell you how refreshing it can be. I've attended a handful of different conferences and things like that. And you always walk away feeling so good. And even I think the people, the facilitators and hosts and everybody just gets this feel good feeling when you leave, and you just kind of you center your soul a little bit. And having a passion project is so, so important because it's what you get to look to during the daily struggles of business ownership and continuing to persevere and move forward even through struggles and the difficulties that come along with owning your own business and working with other business owners and clients who are also going through the same kinds of struggles that you are, because business ownership, while can equate to an immense amount of freedom and fulfillment, is also can be challenging. So is there an important piece of advice that you would like to give some budding young entrepreneurs, or maybe even some seasoned professionals, about your journey and how they can refresh their existing spark in their business?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to not be afraid to try something that's calling to you. So if there has been something that has been knocking on your door, or just of like this inkling of interest somewhere, to not ignore that, to not be afraid of stepping outside of your comfort zone, because I mean, many of us know through challenges comes growth. And when we can kind of remove that fear and just take a leap and go for it, that's where the magic really happens. So that's one piece. And then I think also a really great reminder is to not forget about your values and what really truly matters to you, and not to just do things that, people are kind of telling you to do, but to really think about what's important to you, what are your values, who are you authentically, and to go after that, and make sure to keep looking back and seeing, is this in alignment? Is this in alignment? And if not, make some changes.
Is there a process or like a daily practice or something that you do to help you stay aligned with your values? And then with that though, do your values change ever? Like, have you ever shifted from one to a different, or I'm just curious about that personally.
Yeah, so I have done a lot of meditation and journaling, and specifically there is a company called To Be Magnetic that does a lot of it's more focused on manifestation, which I think can be a helpful thing in entrepreneurship as we are looking to manifest the business that we're wanting to create. But the work through that program itself has really been a good guiding outline of how do I get back to what my authentic self is. And the process of doing that is through journaling and through meditation. And when doing that, I've kind of written down what are my core things that are my values and what's authentic for me. And I go back to these. So when I am looking to take on a new client or an opportunity has come my way, in the beginning, it's looking at, okay, well, this is my list of values, and it really isn't aligned here, or this is just not authentic to me and what I want to do with my business. And then over time, it just becomes kind of second nature on knowing right away whether that aligns. But yeah, that's really been the big things, is like journaling and meditation, and then taking a pause before just going through things in autopilot in your life.
And so when you're working with a client, I have to ask, and or you've met a new client and you do your discovery, your consultation calls, and you get done and you're like, hey, this person just doesn't really, and what they're looking to do doesn't really align with my values. Do you find that a struggle to either refer them out, or to not work with them? How do you manage that? That's a tough one sometimes, I think.
Oh, yeah, it is tough, especially when if you're in a point where you financially, you're like, oh, well, I need the income for this. And so there's been situations where I've felt like, okay, there's been a couple aspects of this brand where some things are in alignment and other things aren't. So I know because maybe from a financial standpoint, I need to take in some work. I'll take on some clients that have some alignment, knowing that I may not work with them long term. And then there's others that are just completely not aligned. For example, like a pesticide company. And for me, studying herbalism, it's just like, whoa, we are completely in two different tracks here. And usually, and in my mind, I think, well, if I turn this away, it opens up space for the aligned things to come through.
Mm.
So I really, it's developing that trust muscle that the right things will come when you turn away the things that aren't right. And I usually in those situations will just say that, it unfortunately doesn't align with my business values, but I do have some recommendations of other people that you might be able to work with, and happy to pass those along if they interest you. So that's just growing my network over time where I can pass things to other people that don't necessarily align with me.
That is so great and so smart. And what I really like is that you touched on saying, look, maybe they're not completely misaligned, so I'll work with them for a time. I think that allowing yourself that opportunity to work with them for a bit will get you over that hump. And as you do work with them, maybe you say, let's do 90 days or something similar, 6 months, whatever makes sense with your business plan. Um, and then kind of acknowledging that and giving yourself that date, because what you're going to do is in your mind you're going to be evaluating each conversation, each direction, each piece of material and marketing that you're working on. And as that time goes on, you're going to feel less and less aligned if there's someone, or you might find that you can help shift them. I mean, I think that's brilliant. Smart.
Mhm.
Very smart. It gives you a minute to breathe. You don't have to say no right away, but it also is being true to yourself and recognizing the authenticity and the importance of it. That's so great. All right. I know that you said you launched a Substack recently. Tell us a little bit about that and where can we find that and learn more about everything that you have to say on all subjects, email marketing, and even herbalists.
Yes. So my Substack, the name of it is called Bloom, and it really combines all of the things that I'm interested in. So it will be a range of topics where it does include strategic email marketing, as well as entrepreneurship, specifically solopreneurship, authenticity and becoming in and outside of business. It also includes women's health, spirituality, natural and intentional living. So there's I maybe something for everyone there, but I like to think that bloom symbolizes full expression, thriving, confidence, and abundance. And so I want this to be a space for a solopreneur to be inspired, and not feel alone, but also have some tools on how they can grow their business through strategic email marketing, and then support themselves in their daily lives with intentional living and herbalism. So yeah, all of the fun things. I do post once a week on there, and then eventually would love to develop a membership where there will be even a deeper level of education on email marketing and other resources where we can build a community of solopreneurs that are all in the same boat and growing their businesses.
Oh, that's so great. I love that it is so well rounded. And
Yeah.
you've got your spirituality piece in there because that is so important. And obviously that's aligns with your values as well. So I'm excited I'm going to be checking that out for sure today. Um, and I'm anxious to follow you too. Where else can we find you, Emily? How else can we get in touch with you? And where do you hang out?
Yes, well, mainly Substack is going to be the best spot. I am also on Instagram. My Instagram handle right now is at Emily Emails. And so that is a great spot if you're just looking for some short form content, or a little peek into my personal life. I do include some things there as well. So that would be another spot to be able to find me.
Fantastic. And your website is
It's LeDucMarketingLLC.com.
perfect. LeDucMarketingLLC.com. And I know so Substack is the best place to find you. Your website does offer lots of resources and links to upcoming workshops and different things like that, and also a little bit more insight into your strategies. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with us here on the Savvy Leader podcast. It's been really insightful. I love hearing your journey, and I'm excited to watch you continue to grow and just share your greatness with this world. Thank you so much, Emily, for sprinkling some goodness all around us.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Savvy Leader podcast. Be sure to check the description below for any links or resources we mentioned today. And for even more inspiration and tools to help you on your own leadership journey, come on over and join the conversation in the Savvy Leaders Lounge. That's savvyleaderslounge.com. And we'll see you next time.